which is located inside the Royal Deer Park. It is called Bakken, which means the hill, and it dates back to 1583, and it was founded around a natural spring.
These are individual homes.
Clean, natural spring water was a rare commodity in those days and believed to have healing powers. So, of course, people gathered around the spring. And where people gathered, jesters and magicians came as well.
Now we're on the tour bus on the way to Hamlet's Castle in Helsingor, north of Copenhagen.
Hvis du kan holde ved et eritageslot et eller andet sted, som vi kan se, så vi har det været helt fantastisk.
The ocean is right here to the right.
Now, if you look to the left here, you see a big green area. Back until the late 60s, early 70s, there were two big houses here. One was my grandparents', the other one was where I grew up. Whenever my parents looked out of their bedroom window, they looked right onto the small palace in the forest. That is the Hermitage Palace, the king's hunting lodge. And the reason for it is called the Eremitage. Eremitage is a French word, and it means that you can eat in Eremitage, you can eat in private. So you see, the kitchen and all the staff quarters were in the basement.
That's the king's
There is a very
hunting lodge.
interesting and intricate elevator system in this hunting lodge. So they brought the food up in a little elevator to the dining room where the royals could have their meals in private. It is still used when the royal family have hunts in the area, and it is used the first Sunday in November every year. There's a big horseback hunt in Copenhagen, and the royal family is present, and the horses, they ride around
The ocean is right on our right. This is a heavily wooded area.
As we come down the hill on the left-hand side, we have an old watermill and the mill
There's a thatch
creek.
roof house.
It was a watermill already back in 1599, and it's actually considered one of the most important sources of energy up until industrialization began for real in the 19th century. This mill delivered power to 9 different industrial plants, such as a boat builder, actually several flour mills, a paper mill. Today they manufacture oxygen in there. The water we have on our right-hand side is the Öresund Sound. If, again, it had been a clear day, you could see Sweden right over on the other side. And this water is salt water, but it is not very salty. And it is pretty shallow. You can almost walk halfway to Sweden. spa. It was established in 1852, and the price 100 years ago to go into the spa was $1 a day. Today it is a hotel and a very modern, top of the line private hospital. I can tell you the prices have changed since then. Very expensive. The beautiful little thatch building, actually both of them, here on the left-hand side,
There's a
used to be a library.
thatch roofed house. Most of the houses have tile on the roof.
These apartments you see on your left-hand side, I remember when they were built, we used to call them the cornflakes buildings because they were so expensive at the time. People could only afford eating cornflakes when they lived there.
We're on the ocean in between Sweden and Denmark right now, following the
Coming up on our
shoreline.
left-hand side, you see a beautiful building. That is Sophienberg, built in 1744 by Christian VI's queen. Her name was Sophie Maudlin. And she had this small palace built as a destination for the royal picnics. She thought it would be nice if you made a little outing, that you had a nice place to visit. So she just built a little palace. It has since then had many owners, royal as well as noble, as well as commoners. And today it is owned by the High School Teachers Association and is run as a conference center.
This is a beautiful drive. We're going, I think, to Helsingor Palace.
Det er så svært at gøre det, når vi lidt ikke kan se, hvad det er, jeg snakker om. Det er så mange år siden, jeg har kørt den her tur, så jeg kan ikke huske det. Der var vist noget med, at man ikke måtte holde med. Du kan ikke rigtig se noget med det. Faktisk ikke engang se det. Nej, den er jo der. Jeg kan faktisk ikke se den. Now if you look out to the right, a little to the back, in the haze you can sort of glimpse a small island. That is the island of Veen. And what is so special about this island is a man by the name of Tycho Brahe. He was born in December 1546 as the oldest son of the noble family Brahe and Billy. Now, he attended universities in Copenhagen. If you pay a visit to the Louisiana, make sure to go for a walk at the beautiful sculpture park and also visit this cemetery here on the right-hand side. It's a very beautiful cemetery.
Actually see Sweden over there.
We are now approaching Helsingor. Has a population of approximately 45,000, and it is located, was at the time Danish. Now today the Swedes come across to Denmark to buy beer, alcohol and food. The distance is only approximately 2 miles. And there, even though we have the bridge to Malmö, we still have lots of ferries crossing all the time here. Now Kronborg Castle was built in the year 1574 to Frederick II, and it was built to control and to levy tolls on ships sailing through the Sound. But of course, today most of us remember Kronborg mainly as Hamlet's castle. Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, whom we hear about in Shakespeare's dramatic masterpiece, Hamlet. And when we visit Kronborg, it is not difficult to imagine Hamlet walking around this beautiful castle. However, the Kronborg castle we see today is not the first castle built here. In fact, when Eric of Pomerania, he built a heavily fortified castle called the Hook Cone, from which the king's men controlled shipping in the Sound and extracted the very unpopular Sound dues. And these dues were actually levied up until 1857. But King Frederick II was the one responsible for substantially renovating the castle. And he built this magnificent Renaissance castle on top of the outdated, smaller smaller castle. He was influenced by his many travels in Europe, and also by his very young wife, who incidentally was his cousin. Her name was Sophie of Mecklenburg. She was German.
Yeah, get it.
Right in front of you, can you see that green pillar? That is actually a lamp This was given by the Danish people in order to say thank you to the Swedish people for their help with the Jews. During the war, of course, no street lights, no lights were allowed here in Denmark. So when the Swedes looked across the water, they couldn't see anything. It was black. People were not allowed to have lights on so you could see it. So after the liberation, they made this sculpture, and it is lit up at night. And whenever the Swedes look across the water, they will see it and think, this is the Danes thanking us. Voucher today, is that ridiculous? You got your voucher today?
Mm-hmm. That's the castle we're going to.
All the boats you see, the ferries you see out on the right, are ferries between Denmark and Sweden. And it is made so that the Swedes, they don't even have to leave. I mean, they have to get off the boat. But they don't have to walk around Helsingor to buy all these things. They walk straight off the boat into the duty-free store and go back again.
What?
Even though it's a sunny day, I suggest you bring a jacket or a windbreaker when we leave the bus. You don't have to carry all your bags around if you don't want to. Björn stays with the bus, so you can leave it here. But we're going to walk around outside, so it might be a little windy, and that's why I suggest you bring a jacket.
I'm going to shut this off. This is Helsingor Castle. It's got a moat around it. Like all the castles have moats around them. And I mean, they're big moats with a wall on the inside. Right behind it, it's 2 miles across the ocean there to Sweden.
1400s. And we say that Kronborg was built in 1574 to 85. There has been a lot of changes throughout the times to this castle. One of the big changes happened in the 1600s. In fact, in 1629, a big fire ravaged the palace, the castle. So Christian IV, he rebuilt it pretty much the way it had been before the fire. The fire was caused by some careless workers who were working on the roof. But after that, other kings set their mark on the castle. And everybody has sort of done their little bit to it. And also, another thing was, in 1658, the Swedes attacked us and bombed the castle heavily. Yes. So there's a lot of different monograms. A lot of different kings have put their mark on this castle. But let's walk up. This is just such an impressive view here because you can see the walls. You can see how thick they are and the moats and everything. But we have a little bit more to go.
This is a moat around Helsingor Castle. The hamlet was a ruler. This is one of the gates. This was a real castle.
Yes, it's beautiful.
With the moats, there's a...
Tim, you're walking too fast. Taking the video, it's going to be all shaky.
Kronborg was turned into a prison, and the prisoners were kept in dungeons underneath here. And it was not very uncommon that these dungeons, not only here but in other castles and palaces as well, they were flooded sometimes. Didn't matter, they were bad people, they deserved to be down there, and so maybe they drowned, so what? But it cannot be very pleasant. And those prisoners were put to use working in the castle. That is, the minor, those who had only done minor things, they were allowed to work on the inside. Whereas the more dangerous ones, they were only allowed to work on the outside. So a lot of the renewals have been made by prisoners. Let's walk in here. As somebody said to me, well, even though you came up here and wanted to attack, you still had to get through very thick.
These walls are about 30 foot high.
Yeah. This portal you see here was actually not made for this castle. It was originally made for Kronborg Castle in Jutland, but it was moved here. It was moved and transferred here to Kronborg in 1576. Up above the portal, you can see there's a little, there's a window, and this was where the king could spy on his visitors. So he could sit up there and say, do we want to let these people in, or do we not? I see. By the way, over there you have a
This
little flag.
is heavily fortified.
Oh, yes.
Heavily fortified. The doors are 4 inches thick. This door here, about 8 inches thick. There's a moat and a wall outside the wall.
Jumped right in.
I told her she's sitting by herself if she's looking out the back of the bus.
The really imposing tower we have in the middle here is called the Trumpeter's Tower. It is there's a staircase inside that leads up to the ballroom, the grand ballroom, which is the windows you see there. And on special occasions, there would be trumpeteers standing up here, signaling. It must have been amazing. Yeah.
We're in a courtyard in the center of the
We
castle.
also have the chapel, the church chapel. And this part here behind us is where their more private quarters were. But of course they didn't have any kind of central heating or electrical heating. That's why they have these huge fireplaces in all the rooms. You saw them in the palace in Stockholm. And here in the middle, there used to be a beautiful fountain. Guess who took that away? The Swedes. Yes. This particular one we won't find in Sweden today because they melted it down. It was bronze. They melted it down and used it for cannonballs or whatever.
There used to be a beautiful fountain here in the center, and our guide says that the Swedes come in and took it. Sweden really devastated Denmark for a few years.
Too bad. But it's probably 20 years ago. I saw it the last time. Yeah.
Dort?
If anybody needs to use restrooms, as far as I remember, there are restrooms over there. Yeah.
We are at Helsingor Castle right now, where Hamlet actually lived. If Hamlet was a prince or if he was actually a king, but he lived here. This is a pump. They had a water system in this castle. This is the Castle Chapel. Standing right in the center of the courtyard right now. This is the way out of this thing. We go out this way and over an old drawbridge. This is coming to them, and now I'm coming to another wall. There's a double moat and a double wall around this castle. And this is a tunnel like that goes all the way around the castle. This is where the soldiers would be to fight off the people that were trying to cross over the moats. Here we are going out. Here's some of the gates. This gate is about maybe 15 foot wide. Here I am standing on the outside wall, up on the outside wall that goes around this castle. Right behind me is Sweden. There's a straits goes across there, and Sweden is right across here. There's some ocean freighters. Freighter going. We've seen a lot of ships going through here, a lot of ships. And our guide said that's one reason they built this castle, because they decided they were going to collect tolls for people going across here. Sweden got upset with them, and but has raided Denmark many, many times. Some kind of a tunnel or root cellar or something here.
Castle was not impregnable. So, in 1650, they started building a line of a rampart here, and they called it the Kronborg. And eventually, they added another and another. So there's, in fact, 3 lines of Kronborg before you get into the castle. And it became the most prominent Renaissance castle. Where they hang people, where they execute
Gallows.
the scaffolds and what did you call it?
Gallows.
And gallows. That was the word I was looking for. And gallows around here. People when they drove up. Oh, okay, you better behave.